Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're subscribed anywhere you get podcasts, and be sure to follow me on socials at MLU Pod. You can also support My Little Underground for as little as $1 a month. Link in the description and over at peteraradio.com. I also have a brand new monthly newsletter that you can sign up for, also at peteraradio.com. And today on the show, we're going to kick off Black History Month by celebrating some great black artists that you may not have heard of. And to help me out, I have the great Alicia Gaines, the bass player of the Chicago outfit Ganser. Sit tight, discover great black artists right here on My Little Underground. Alicia, thank you so much for joining me again here on My Little Underground. So it is Black History Month, so I thought it would be perfect to chat with you about some great black artists that a lot of people probably don't know about, but if you have a few pop stars in there, I don't really care. You know, we're just celebrating us today, you know, so I'll let you go first.
So the first one, I thought I would get reprimanded by some of my friends if I didn't include her on this list. The first one that I'm going to list is Styrene, which is an artist that I hope I get to hear a little bit more about in an upcoming documentary. It's currently starting to screen selectively, but she was the singer. I think she formed the band X-Ray Spex, but she has just a huge footprint on especially women in punk, women in rock. She's just one of my absolute favorites. But she stepped away from the spotlight pretty early on in her career. So there's a lot there that I don't know that I'm really excited to find out about her.
Oh, great. See, this is exactly why I did this. I've never heard of the X-Ray Spex. So I'm glad that we're doing this. This is great. So the first group on my list is a group that I've been obsessed with over the last year or so. And that group is the Equals. And the Equals, there are, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're a garagey soul pop group from the UK, led by Eddie Grant. And they had, you know, a little time in the spotlight in like the 60s and in the 70s. And what's interesting, and they were actually known as one of the first major interracial groups in the UK. Pioneers, which is, I think, is fantastic. Very, very tight, sharp songwriting, really overwhelmingly catchy tunes. Like it's unbelievable. Like for example, Rub-a-Dub, 1969. If you hear it the first 30 seconds, it's gonna be stuck in your head for weeks to come. But I think especially Ty Segall fans would recognize Diversion, and Ty did a cover of it on his 2016 album Emotional Mugger. And the two versions are totally different from each other. The Equals version is very, you know, 60s soul-esque kind of style, whatever. And, you know, Ty Segall has, you know, Ty is just very abrupt and abrasive garage. So, yeah, I definitely would check out the Equals Diversion. It is gorgeous. And Rub-a-Dub, just a pretty song just to kind of take the edge off. Because I listened to it when I was in a really bad mood, and I just felt great after listening. All right, what you got for me next?
Up next, I've got someone, it's another person that I would love to know a little bit more about. It's Barry Adamson. He's known primarily as the bassist for the band Magazine, a band that I absolutely love. You know, songs like Shot by Both Sides. And he's just one of those people that has had like a really interesting career. And it's one of those things where I wonder with musicians like this, like, if they know the trajectory that they're on, or is it one of those things where you get to a later point in your life and you're like, wait a minute, I did all this amazing stuff. So he was in Magazine, but then also he was in the Bad Seeds with Nick Cave. He worked on multiple movie soundtracks for like David Lynch. Just like a really cool musician all around, but I feel like not a lot of people know about him.
No, I don't. Great. What was his name? He's in a group called Magazine. Right?
Barry Adamson.
Barry Adamson. All right. If the artists that you named are on Spotify, we have to make we have to team up on a playlist.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. Who's next on my list? Oh man, this group is a group by I've been grown to love so much, and I just started diving into. And Trouble Funk, you know Trouble Funk, the legendary
No.
go-go group. Oh man, they are incredible. They have this very uh, danceable funk sound that is unbelievably groovy. Like this
Mm.
is the best representation of party music, in my opinion. You know, today's like party music is very, you know, electronic trance house based, but this is just
Mhm.
like party music with like guitars, bass, etc. It
Mm.
is incredible stuff. Like their music kind of represents the ultimate live experience. Even if I've never seen them live, they still play till this day. But if you listen to their music, you feel like you're right there. And if anybody listens to the 15-minute live version of one of their biggest hits, Drop the Bomb, it's on Spotify. It's just 15 minutes of just raw adrenaline, soul, and the true definition of keeping it funky. The true definition. It's incredible.
Wow,
And
and
I
that's
just
not even like a club mix. That's just like the original song is 15
yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
Wow.
It's no, actually the original song is not 15 minutes, but
Oh,
there's a
okay.
live version on Spotify.
Oh, I see. I see.
It stretches out. It's unbelievable, and it's almost like it's auditory caffeine. You know, when you
Mhm.
hear it, like a burst of energy just runs right through you. And I definitely would recommend. They did a live album. What was it called? It was Saturday Night Live from DC. I thought it was, you know, a Saturday Night Live performance, but it's just they're just playing live in DC on a Saturday night, and he's put it on a record, and it's incredible, absolutely incredible. All right, your turn. What you got?
So on my end, I picked someone who, if I'm ever feeling away, because I feel like, we've been doing that a lot lately. I'll go put on an interview with Eartha Kitt. She just exudes a certain kind of can't mess with me kind of attitude that I think I was going through this list and trying to figure out like who I wanted to talk about. And I think that that's a really common thing with Black artists is that some of them to get to the level that they are, they have to have a persona that whether they had that naturally or whether they kind of had to learn it of just like, I don't care what you think. This is what I have to say. Don't mess with me. And there are some Eartha Kitt interviews that are just like chef's kiss perfect, where she just gives like the best zingy answers. And she has some of the like most fun, like kind of novelties tunes in the 60s that are just like, I don't know. They're just always a fun thing to put on.
What kind of music does she make?
They're kind of like coy, flirtatious, kind of like almost like Nancy Sinatra kind of songs, like that kind of like thing. They're very
Huh,
cute.
Eartha Kitt. All right, cool. I'm glad that you've named a whole bunch of people I've never heard of. This is great. Okay, who's on my list? Mr. Junior Kimbrough. You know about him?
No.
Ooh, oh man, good stuff. He's a legendary Mississippi bluesman. He's known for his very hypnotic drone-like guitar playing.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear his stuff, I think like this is where like the whole, oh, not necessarily, but almost where the like the doom sound kind of originated. It has that kind
Mm-hmm.
of quality, but it's not so deep and gross. But
Yeah.
there is this kind of hypnotic drone element that doom has, and he's actually been making music since the '60s, but he
Mm.
didn't start putting out music until the '90s because he was on a label Gold Wax, and
Okay.
owner of the label, Quentin Clonch, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He didn't want to release any of his music because it was quote unquote too country.
Oh.
But this guy himself was a country artist, so it made no sense.
Yeah.
Um, he didn't put out an official album until 1992.
Whoa.
That Possum put out All Night Long, and it's a brilliant album. It's amazing. But Black Keys fans might be familiar with Junior Kimbrough because they did a tribute EP in 2006, Chulahoma. And what's actually interesting, they did, when Black Keys did Austin City Limits, In between sets, they were doing some bantering, and one person shouted out in the crowd, "My mind is rambling," which is a Junior Kimbrough song, and the Black Keys covered it on Chulahoma. But they didn't play it, but I think it's interesting how much of an impact Junior Kimbrough's sound has had on the blues music, because even after an artist covers it, they still want to hear it, and I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard with those genres. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like Black people invented those, but then for some reason it's hard for us to jump back in. You know, it feels like there's some kind of barrier there. I'm glad that it's seeming like it's starting to change, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm seeing a whole wave of, Black artists coming my way, which I haven't seen before, which is terrible to say about the music industry.
Yeah.
I'm glad that, like artists like you, like Ganser, came my way, and Pom Pom Squad's coming my way. And I'll talk about this person later. Yola came my way. And I think this is just absolutely amazing. I love this. I feel like, this is the time period where, just like back then, Black artists aren't afraid to go outside of what Black people think, a Black artist should sound like,
Right.
Okay. Is it your turn? It's your turn, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's my turn. So this one I'm picking just purely for selfish reasons. I think this is someone that I grew up with and like kind of dismissed, maybe as like, my parents' music or whatnot, but I've been listening to a ton of Tina Turner.
What?
Because she rips. But yeah, I mean, all of her stuff with Ike is absolutely wonderful. It's like the best, like making breakfast in the morning music. I know that's very specific. And then if you get into stuff that's more in the 80s, like the theme to the Mad Max movie she was in, Thunderdome, that's been one that has been just like a funny song to sing around the house. So I would say Tina's been entertaining me unexpectedly.
Okay. All righty. This next group is definitely for you, Alicia. ESG. I think we talked about
great.
it. Yeah.
Oh, they're great.
Absolutely. Like the one thing that one of the key identifiers with them is their bass heavy sound. And I just you as a bassist, I'm thinking there's no way you don't listen to them.
They're super, they're up there. I mean, they're one of those things, one of those bands where it's like, I'm so glad that they've been able to make music again recently, because I have no idea. I haven't read many interviews with them. I have no idea what their treatment was the first time out the gate, but I imagine walking into any club at the time period that they were first making music, I'm sure people were like, I'm sorry, who are you? It would probably be something like that.
Something like that happened with Salt and Pepper. I don't know if you saw their Lifetime documentary. It wasn't a documentary, it was a biopic, but it was absolutely brilliant. And when they were getting started, no one really knew what they looked like. So there's a scene in the movie where somebody takes a picture of them, and this person finds two people that kind of look like Salt and Pepper, and then they bill them as Salt and Pepper, but they weren't really Salt and Pepper. So I can imagine how many artists, especially like the Black women, have gone through that. But a little bit about ESG. Let's see. Emerald, Sapphire, and Gold. That's what ESG stands for.
Right.
Legendary New York dance punk group. And I think if anybody listens to LCD Sound System, Death from Above, 1979, you see, you know what I'm talking about. Block Party, cut from that cloth. That whole dance, post-punkish sound. That's all ESG. They actually, like you said, they've become popular with house DJs. And in hip hop too, because UFO is one of the most sampled songs in hip hop. And I highly, highly recommend to everybody listening, please go listen to their 1982 album, Come Away with ESG. It is beautiful, brilliant, and you really want to dance. You really, truly want to dance to this. All right, you go. What's next? What you got for me?
So I think just another one, this is pretty topical, with everything with Spectre dying recently. I think a lot of people were discovering more about Ronnie Spector than they had ever known before, and just hearing about that woman's life, and then just seeing the pictures of just who she was around and how much she was in the mix. Again, this is something where it's like, I don't know if like you realize it even at the time, or it's 20 years on, and then you're like, I guess I did hang out with Iggy Pop and David Bowie on a regular basis, but just between her music and the Ronettes, and then everything that she went through with Phil Spector and the crazy, crazy abuse that she went through, that's almost like cartoonish. Did you know that he like kept like a coffin in the basement and like threatened to put her in it at all times and kept her shoes? Like this woman like escaped from his house barefoot. Like it's like a Kill Bill story. It's great.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's like, that's someone where it's like, why hasn't there been like a prestige TV show or like a really high profile biopic of her? Because I feel like going from that to like hanging out with David Bowie, like she's just been everywhere. So I don't know. I feel like she needs a little bit more love and attention.
She well, I don't know too much about Ronnie Spector. Does she have solo material, or was she in any groups?
So yeah, she did have a solo career after the Ronettes. I mean, I'm more familiar with the Ronettes, but yeah, she's just someone that I think it would be fascinating to get like a fictional portrayal of her, or at least someone like her, because I feel like that kind of just getting the right actress there, I feel like it could just be like a stellar project. I don't know. Her biography.
Ganser should cover some Ronette songs.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Like, it's also interesting, like, because I was, talking about the Black Keys covering Junior Kimbrough. Is there any group that you would consider, or Ganser would consider doing a tribute EP, or even like a 7-inch or something about an artist that you love?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we've always come around to on covers is that, like, I think that we would probably do some band that has a male lead singer. Like, I think I'd want to like take Nadia and like have her do a run at like Iggy Pop or something like that. I think that's always interesting with covers, to pick someone who doesn't sound like you do. Like, I don't think we would ever do ESG. I don't think we'd ever do, not that we sound too much like them, but I think we would want to go somewhere kind of far away and then kind of make it our own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because, I'm seeing a lot of white artists cover Black artists, but do a very, very good job with it, but do it completely differently. Like Ty Segall, when he covered the Eagles, it sounds nothing like the Eagles version, nothing at all. Even when he covered Harry Nilsson, and Ty's version of the songs sound almost nothing like, the original. So I think, because now I'm becoming more obsessed with, tribute EPs, and I love it, because there's certain, like, people like me who like to learn about different types of music. When I hear artists do that, I learn and discover about artists, and I go down that rabbit hole. Like Junior Kimbrough and Harry Nilsson. If Ty Segall didn't cover them, or the Black Keys didn't cover Junior Kimbrough, I don't know if I would have known about them. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think like taking something that, like, you love, and kind of going back to the roots of it and then bringing it forward. I think that's just kind of like the natural progression of how things work. Like, I think like a really good one for me, like I like a fair amount of like that kind of like disco dance kind of thing that shows up a little bit on our album, but like to do something like, I don't know, like a Donna Summer song, like MacArthur Park or something, would be pretty cool. Like make that into a more rock song. It's all about trying to figure out like what's the way in. I don't know, covers are really difficult. They're really difficult. We've only ever like done one cover, or 2 covers live ever, and that was like for one-off occasions. Like one was at like a drag show.
That's amazing.
We're like, we might as well.
It's amazing. I'm sure hopefully some crazy fan is making bootlegged versions of live bands. Hopefully you have a crazy bootlegger that shows when shows come back.
There might be a version of Tainted Love floating around there somewhere. I don't know. We only did it once.
Yeah. It actually lasted. Like Amy Winehouse covered the Specials very well, Monkey Man, and her version is very good.
That was almost one of my bands. That was almost one of the artists that I chose.
Oh, the Specials. I thought about the Specials too a little bit. Yeah. The next on my list, Miss Eaves. She's a multimedia artist, rapper, went viral a couple of years ago with her Thunder Thighs video. She has music in Insecure, and aside from music, she makes these incredible paper mache models that are just amazing. And she started a social media challenge last year, her Belly Bounce challenge, which she tried to get me to do, to no avail. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. But yeah, I think it's cool that a lot of people have been doing it. Musically, she raps over a lot of electronic, dance sounding instrumentation that's really cool. Like, it's not like David Guetta or anything like that, but it's a lot of like almost Tune Yards-esque, but a lot more danceable. And her music's very introspective too. Like, she's talking about a lot of real things, but it's you can dance to it. Like 3 Jobs, for example, it's about struggling now as a freelancer, having multiple jobs, but it's very groovy and you can dance to it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as a concept for a song.
Yep. You have to think, but you can dance while you're thinking.
Totally.
All right, who's next with you?
Is this the last one? Are we down to the last one already?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I have one more. I have one more after this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're down to our last 2. So this one is it's a song that like every single time I hear it, I get chills. It's Screaming Jay Hawkins, I Put a Spell on You. Specifically that song. Do you know the story behind it?
Nope.
Okay, so
I got you here to tell me these stories.
Yeah. So you're gonna hear it differently from now on, and I think this is why Screaming Jay Hawkins went on to like influence bands like the Cramps, or even shock rock like Alice Cooper, Marilyn Manson, all these things, because he tried to be very straight like blues, like rock and roll musician. And they were recording the song I Put a Spell on You, and he's in there with a band and they're recording it. It's okay, it's all right. And their manager goes, you know what, like, we've done this a couple of times, I feel like it's not really gelling. Look, I'm gonna go get us some dinner, and I'm also gonna get us some drinks, and I'll be back. And so he comes back with food, but also an extreme amount of booze, and they all get blackout drunk, record the song in this crazy demented way because they're blackout drunk. And that's how the version, he doesn't remember recording it. And the crazy thing about this is because the song became so spooky, and kind of changed its whole tone around because he's drunk, so it's like more threatening. The whole like his whole stage persona, like the bone through the nose, like tribal thing, that all came like after the success of the song. Like, he had to reverse engineer persona to go with essentially him being blackout drunk, and then he got to perform pretending, I think at least part of the time, that he was blackout drunk all the time. Isn't that weird?
That is strange. So he didn't like how he sounded doing it straight? Is that it?
I don't know if he did or if his manager just said, like, I think we need to like try something different. But yeah, that's the story of that song. And so now when I hear it, it's like, it's a little bit like creepier than than I remember it,
Unbelievable. The last on my list is probably the most popular artist on the, I guess, maybe not really, but one of the
Beyonce?
most popular
Did you
people.
pick Beyonce?
No. I said that like.
I mean, you could have.
Yeah, if you picked any of the Knowles family, Solange, I wouldn't care at all. There's a
Would
lot.
it be funny if like 3 of mine were just like all the members? Wait, I could have done the whole. Could I have done the whole 6 with members of Destiny's Child, past or present?
You could have. That would have been
record this.
Well, there's always Juneteenth.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We have a whole month too. So, wow. You see, I didn't even think of that. That's a good idea. The last on my list is Yola. Do you know Yola? Did I talk to you about Yola yet? No, I didn't. Okay. You would love Yola. She has a very soulful take on country. If you know Linda Martell, do you know her?
I do not.
Another great black country singer. She put out one album in the 70s. Amazing stuff. But Yola dropped her debut album, Walk Through Fire, in 2019. And I fell in love with this album when I was finished with my year-end list for 2019. And hearing it again, I'm like, I'm an idiot. This should have been on my list. It's that good. And it was put out on Dan Arabak's label, Easy Eye Sound, and he actually produced it as well. This is not only a must-hear album, and for country fans, soul music fans, or whatever, but just in general. But it's a must hear on vinyl. It is an absolute, you have to hear it on vinyl. It is moving to hear it in its true analog form. I was able to find a copy of it on vinyl, and I like it so much more now. But if you listen to it on Spotify, whatever, but if you listen to it like analog, it's like so beautiful. Yeah, and Yola is truly remarkable, truly incredible. Yeah, and that's it. That's it with my list. Alicia, tell me everything going on with Ganser now. I know you got some remixes out. What's popping?
So we decided to do a remix project that's a little different. We met a lot of people over the past year, yourself included, online. Typically like you would meet people that would remix your album playing shows and stuff, but these are all people that we either played with, a while ago and kept in touch online, or people that we met through Twitter. So we're just releasing one a month as a surprise, and the full thing will be out, I believe, in May. But it's been really fun. This is the first time that we've done remixes, so it's kind of wild seeing what people come up with when you send them your stems, which is a little bit scary.
Yeah. Who did that? David Byrne did that. When David Byrne and Brian Eno did their album together, later on they would they put up the stems of their songs for free, so people can remix it, which is really cool. I think that down the line, when clubs come back, one day I'm gonna hear a Ganser remix, just like ESG. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Wait for the next one. It's a good dance track. So
yeah,
you might not be wrong. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be so cool. Alicia, thank you so much for doing this with me. I've been looking forward to this. I could have done this by myself, but it wouldn't be right. I had to bring you on. You're the perfect person to do this with.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So plug away, Ganser. Anything else you got going on? This is your time.
So Just Look at That Sky actually turned 6 months old today. So I think it's going well for staying home, but you should check that album out. Just Look at That Sky. And we're just writing the third one now, so it's only going to get weirder from here.
Let's go. And it's a truly great album. Really, really good. Each time I listen to it, I find something else that I like about it.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love albums like that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so great. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Thanks for having me.